And so here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports. So the title of this video, and I feel I need to do this video because I've said some things in the past, and they all seem to be coming to pass. I spoke of a Master League of boxing, and Mike Tyson has gone ahead and done that. But here's a new thing. Well, here's something else I spoke about in the past, just to jog your memories. I said that the time will come where you will have boxing events and you will have boxing fans. If they do it right, what I think they might do is use the YouTubers to commentate on fights. So, like, for example, you've got YouTubers commentate at the moment, but what you would do is put two rival YouTubers. It doesn't have to be YouTubers like how you used to have Arsenal and Liverpool, Tottenham. Yes, Hamza, how are we doing? Tottenham and Arsenal. So you put one wearing an Arsenal top on, one wearing a Tottenham top on, Arsenal and Tottenham, for example, put them in separate booths, or you get them both in the same booth talking about their team. Of course, when a person scores a goal, if Arsenal scored a goal first or Tottenham scored a goal first, you can see the distraught or the happiness of one and the other side rivals. They do the same thing with boxing. So you can have one guy who backs Lomachenko, one guy who backs Lopez, or one guy who backs Tyson Fury, one guy that backs Anthony Joshua, and you put them on screen, and then you see them talking between one another. So that's one of the things I think they will try and do. Where you lose the atmosphere of the arena and people being there. One of the things I think they can do is this. One of the things I think they will do is this. So your fan zone, call it a fan zone. So I see a fan zone. Good afternoon. So I see a fan zone coming to boxing. This one's a bit deeper. What I see happening is this. See DAZN. See, when I was talking about DAZN a while back, and I was saying what they were trying to do is trying to compete with Al Heyman. See, the difference is this. People at DAZN are not boxing people. They're not boxing people. They might be accountants. They might be bankers doing something for a bit of a hobby. They're not boxing people. They're business people, but they don't understand boxing. Let me explain this to you. They don't get boxing. They may be corporate people. They may have thrown a punch in their lives. They don't understand the idea of being in strategy training. They don't get all that. They are glitz glamour, going to these high-profile events, MGM Grand and stuff like that, and meeting people and networking. They're into that shit. They're not interested in what they care about the fighters. They don't care about the fighters. Understand this. When they signed Golovkin, my brother Russell Hawkins, how you doing? We need to do a crossover show at one point, sir, and we'll have to hook up because I definitely love the stuff that you do. I'm a massive fan of what you do, so keep going, brother. These guys are what I call privileged. They're guys that go to private school and they've had the privilege of going to private school, and they have a different reality of life, totally different reality of life, right? And this thing, boxing, is a hobby for them. If it goes wrong, these guys are never going to be broke. These guys will never be broke. These guys will never be broke. Not to the standard of a broke person. They never be broke. You understand? These hoodlums, these are real hoodlums. They'll never be broke. And so when they were signing all these guys, they signed Danny Jacobs, they were signing Gennady Golovkin, and we got this guy, we got that guy, we got this guy, we got that guy. And I was watching them signing, and I watched people on YouTube going, "Oh, look at this! Don't sign this person. Don't sign that person. Don't sign this person." I'm like, well, hold on a second. Okay, let's see what you're doing with these guys. Let's see if you're actually putting the time in to promote these fighters. Let's see if you've got a backstory. Let me see. Apart from you seeing these guys fight, who are they? Who the hell is Danny Jacobs? I mean, really, who is Danny Jacobs? Yeah, he's a guy that fought and he has a bit of a backstory, but who is Danny Jacobs? You don't really get to understand the real heart of these people, who they are and what they're about. You know, you sign Alexander Usyk, you sign this person, you sign that person. You know, like it's like Football Manager. where you just go and sign a whole load of people, just bring them in because you've got the money to bring them in. But do you actually care for the product? Do you actually care for the brand? Do you actually care for the fighter? And so you bought a lot of guys that you paid over the amount for in the first place. Because Golovkin, why would you sign Golovkin to as long a deal as you did with him? He was like over 30. He was at once 32, 33 when he signed the deal with him. Well, I don't know how old he was, but he was old and he was in the decline. You were signing Golovkin for a 5-year deal? Why? What for? It's not like he was fighting, he was getting better, because he wasn't. Why would you sign Golovkin to that deal? How many other guys that they signed at DAZN, you think to yourself, you signed him, but why did you sign him? And how much money did you sign? So you overpaid these guys. Overpaid these guys. And now the pandemic's come, you're catching your ass. But watch this. Watch this. Watch this. These guys, all these superstar names, expect to see a lot of them leaving promotional companies who are going to put out to you and tell you all, oh, everything's great. We're rocking on. We're doing the business. Our business is doing great. We're in the reality of it. Their business is not doing great. Business is not doing great. And they can't pay these fighters that they're overpriced and overcharged in the first place. Like, they paid them so much money when there was ridiculous money that they didn't even deserve to have. They were paying these guys. Yeah, Gigi got 15 million to fight a gym teacher, Steve Rolls. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And when it happened, Hamza, when it happened, and I was talking about it, people go, it's only because you're a hater. Because you're a hater. Because you don't like the guys attached to the zone. It's not because I'm a hater. I'm talking facts. And these facts are going to come back to all these people and bite these people in the ass. Right? These guys, these are the sort of people they are. They go bankrupt, then they're going to start an organization somewhere else. And they'll start somewhere else. So, the way I look at it is this. A lot of these fighters are going to leave. So Al's still paying fighters. You look at the first show Al's put on. The first look at he's got the Charlos fighting, the unification bout coming up. You've got Gerald Charlo fighting Deverenchenko. What Top Rank doing with Terence Crawford? You know, they're pushing for this Fury fight, or Fury and Wilder 3. They know it's money in it. But the bottom line is this. A lot of these organizations that you think are doing well are not going to do so well. And you're going to see a lot of big names leaving and pull out our contracts early. And I think some of the reasons they're going to pull out these contracts early is not because, well, first of all, the money won't be there for them to carry on fighting the garbage they've been fighting. But 2, because the market won't allow it, won't stand for it. But 2, some of these guys are going to be forced to take fights that exposes them that they're not that good, and they've been living off some fantasy money and some fantasy reality. Because when the chips are down, a lot of these guys, when it gets difficult, they're gonna crack. Do you get what I'm saying? They're gonna crack, and they won't be as good once they get that zero cracked. And there'll be a few zeros getting cracked now because a few guys are having to step up and fight. They're not going to get nannied anymore. They have to step up and fight. They have to step up and fight. So I always ask myself the question: why did Frank push Dubois in with Joe Joyce? That's not the usual thing Frank Warren will do. Frank Warren will build you up nicely. You're chucking him in with Joe Joyce. And I said, why are you doing that? Because Joe Joyce has done nothing so far to fight Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois has done nothing so far to fight Joe Joyce. He's been in no meaningful fights. But Frank normally builds you up. Didn't Joshua get 30 million for Povetkin fight that launched DAZN with a peak of 18 million viewers? Okay, all right. Let me ask you a question. Who cares about Anthony Joshua today? Who cares about Anthony Joshua today? Who cares about Anthony Joshua today? Who cares about Anthony Joshua? People stopped caring about Anthony Joshua when he got beat by Andy Ruiz that first fight. Because remember, when Joshua went over there, he was built as this guy. You know, he's like the Incredible Hulk. He was Hercules. I've seen Hercules stumble across the canvas 4 times. Brought images back of Frank Bruno and Tyson beating up on him. Do you understand? Joshua's credibility has gone down. And I said this, and I'll keep on saying this. When the British fans turn on Joshua, which I said they were turning this, the screw was going to get turned from the Parker fight. I said this, and the screw has been turned. People don't give a damn about him fighting Pulev. People don't care about him fighting Pulev. People don't. They don't. After seeing Fury and Wilder fight once and seeing Fury and Wilder fight again, they don't care about him fighting Kubrat Pulev or Alexander Povetkin. They really don't care. The time people cared about Joshua and really cared about Joshua, you can bring all the facts and figures all you want in terms of numbers, but the real number you want to talk about is the 50 million. Let's talk about that 50 million. That's what people want to talk about. The Wilder Joshua fight. We go back there. That right, see that point right there? That was the $100 million fight that could have been. Yeah, okay. I'm not knocking what you're saying. I'm not knocking what you're saying. What I'm saying is, I'm not knocking what you're saying. Please don't get me wrong. What I'm saying, people don't care about Joshua now, and the caring from Joshua came. The lack of caring came when he was meant to fight Wilder, and they and and messed around with that. They and messed around with it. So now, thank you very much. Sorry about that. Thank you. So they and about that fight because Barry Hearn never wanted Joshua to fight Wilder until 2021, next year. No, I understand what he's saying. I understand totally what he's saying. So I have to, but I mentioned Joshua for a reason because he is the British fans are turning on Joshua. 1, 2. That I go back to the Wilder Joshua fight. Imagine if that fight had been made now. Just think about the reality. If Joshua and Wilder had been made, what the heavyweight division would look like today. You would have had your undisputed champion. Thank you very much. You would have had your undisputed champion one way or the other. So my point is, in terms of Joshua, and I want to talk about this because I know you mentioned about Joshua. I'm going to come back to that thing about the numbers. Joshua being their flagship fighter, his ratings are going down the drain. It started with the Wilder situation. It continued with the Ruiz fight and subsequently getting knocked out by Ruiz. Then the rematch in the way he fought against Ruiz. Now we've got the pandemic, the lockdown, and now then the Black Lives Matter situation. And yes, a lot of Joshua's viewing public are probably, I would say, supporters are, let's say, would not be in agreement with what Joshua was saying at the Black Lives Matter movement. A lot of his supporters would not have been agreeing with that. So he would lose on that as well, even if what he was saying was correct or his intentions were right. Even if the words came out maybe not the way he wanted them to come out, that's going to lose him some steam. So now he's going to fight Pulev. If he doesn't knock Kubrat Pulev out and he gets caught up in some problems with Kubrat Pulev, his ratings are going to drop further. So, and that's their flagship fighter, along with Canelo. So you mentioned paying millions, 30 million for the Povetkin fight for Joshua. I mean, they need to get that money back. How are they going to get that money back? 18,000 views. How are they going to get money back? Hamza says they already have trouble paying Canelo. That's why his opponent still hasn't been announced. He'll probably won't be able to fight on that date since Roy. And look at this point. Check this out. Check this out, right? What does it tell you about the state of boxing if two men over 50 can come back and ruin the plans of Canelo, who is the biggest star in boxing at the moment? I bet they couldn't do that with Floyd. I would like to see if Floyd decided to have that date. And Tyson and let's say Floyd was going to come back and fight. Let's say Floyd was going to come back and fight. He wouldn't. But let's say Floyd was going to come back and fight Errol Spence, or Floyd was going to come back and fight Terence Crawford, or Floyd is going to come back and fight Manny Pacquiao in a second fight. I don't think Tyson and Roy could have had the same appeal. But imagine two 50-year-olds. Two 50-year-olds. That tells you what the state of boxing really is. Although Canelo's pound for pound, the superstar and all that stuff. If Lomachenko were to fight on the same night, people would go and watch Tyson and Roy. Why is that? Why is that? Yes, you were. I understand. Yeah, I did. I cleared that up. I hope I cleared that with you guys. Yeah, Joshua Matchroom ducking that Wilder fight will forever stain his legacy. Worse than really ducking Lennox. Yeah, but that was a premeditated duck. That was a blatant, we're not fighting you until 2021. So I expect to see kingdoms fall and kingdoms rise. But I said this back around the situation with... See, another thing is, watch this. Remember when a certain individual was talking about taking over the USA? Well, how did that go for you? How did that go for you? We took one person over to USA, your flagship fighter. They get beat out of sight, and then the other fight you had, Katie Taylor, you took her over to America. She got beat out of sight as well, but then you got her robbed. That night the Pearson got robbed. I don't understand where this taking over America is going to happen. I really don't. I don't get it. I don't see it. You see, when you've got a person that's so arrogant and they're not prepared to understand the scope of America, dealing in the UK and dealing in America is two totally different types of dealing. Two totally different types of dealing. And the Americans, I think, were dubious about Hearn when he came over. They're even more dubious about him now. And the way he's talking about, I'm going to take over, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. They don't like that. They ain't got time for that. They really are not interested in that. And when you're building relationships, a lot of relationships have been burnt through that behavior, from what I'm seeing. So a lot of those fighters are going to have to fight big fights. They're going to have to fight big names. And once fighters start getting old, the O's start going, and ones and start getting beaten, then there's a lot of rebuilding that needs to be done, and there's investment that needs to be brought back in. Do you understand? They've got to get that money back. So you've got all these fighters now, but these fat cats even paying money to, and are unbeaten, but they ain't fought no one. And before the pandemic, there was a way, which was a car crash anyway, because those guys don't know how to manage fighters. They just have no idea. So just check something out, for example. Let me give you some examples. Josh Kelly should have lost that night to, yep, absolutely. Josh Kelly should have lost that night. Katie Taylor should have lost that night. Joshua did lose that night. And what was Callum Smith? Callum Smith was fighting some guy who was a middleweight. My God. I mean, you think who they've had for this? You think Khan, Brooke, those guys are finished. Joshua, he got ran through. Who else have they got? Canelo, well, they might lose Canelo soon. So people are not happy with DAZN. People are not happy with DAZN. They're not happy. I've seen Americans saying they want to cancel the subscription. They've had enough. They're sick and tired of DAZN. So when you think about it, a lot of these big names I can see shifting, moving. I can see them moving. I really can see it happening. I can see more of the best fighting the best. Not because it's something the promoters want to do and the managers want to do. It's something they'll have to do to generate the money. That's where I see it happening. The best will have to fight the best. Eddie saying pay-per-view is dead when they launched DAZN. Evisa said DAZN was going to utilize the pay-per-view model. Can't make this up. You can't trust that guy's fight. Like he said to me, he's a second-hand car salesman. That's what he is. That's what he is, right? And Eddie, you just have to study the guy for a year. Just watch what he does for 1 year. That will tell you how he'll move forever. Just study the guy for a year. Just study him for a year. Have you ever asked Eddie Hearn to actually break down a boxing match? Actually break it down, the science of boxing. Well, I think he's going to win because ask him to actually break a fight down. Get him to break a fight down in boxing. I've met these guys from DAZN, or some of these guys from DAZN, and they just, they have money. They have money, right? Of course, money talks, but they're not boxing people. They're not boxing people. They're not boxing people. They're not boxing people. So if the zone folds, good. You know, because they never made sense. It never made sense. It was like playing Football Manager, buying all the best players and all the best players in the world. For what? You see, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones again. It's not what you've got. It's what you do with the product. So what have they done with Canelo? What have they done with Canelo? What have they done that brand Canelo? He's a flagship fighter. He's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. Okay, best pound for pound fighter in the world, and he's struggling for a September 12th date with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. That tells you everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. 2 50-year-olds in an exhibition bout means more than a pound for pound elite fighter. You tell me. And hey, check this out. People want to see GGG versus Canelo for a third fight. Why? What is this obsession with GGG? What's the obsession? I don't understand what the obsession is. He's a decent fighter, but he's no. I don't think GGG is a superstar. I don't think he's a superstar. What has he done to be a superstar? If somebody can explain to me what GGG's done to be a superstar boxer, I'm still waiting. Do you understand? I don't know what he's done. I don't know what Danny Jacobs has done to get the recognition everyone's giving him recognition for. I don't get it. If you look at a lot of the fighters that DAZN has signed, they've got the former undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. Okay, they signed him, Usyk. But then what did they do with him? How did they promote his heavyweight debut? Flippy gave him Chaz Witherspoon. They gave him Chaz Witherspoon. And now they're going to give him Derek Chisora. A guy who's had 10 losses. look what Matchroom did with Ortiz. They signed him. They sent me over to fight Dave Allen and Malik Scott. Look at this. How the hell does he get 2 shots at the world title? And Dillian Whyte still ain't got a shot at the world title. Some things don't make sense to me. They don't. It is what it is. How did Dominic Brazil get a shot at the world title? He fought Anthony Joshua and he fought Deontay Wilder. 2 shots at the world title. Unreal. Unreal. So I don't know what to say to you all, guys. But what I do to what I will say is this: a lot of big name fighters are going to be leaving soon, and a lot of these big names that you call big names are going to soon get exposed because the time has come. It's going to be interesting watching these guys fight now. Very interesting. It'll be interesting for these channels as well that are pushing certain fighters. You see, the other thing that I'll find really interesting is that I said this before. You're going to see a lot more fighters on YouTube and going for the YouTube route. I see that going back to the YouTube route. That's what I see happening. I wonder if the mainstream media that are covering boxing may spend less time in boxing. Gigi is a media creation. HBO, particularly when they still covered boxing, he came in at the right time. At the right time. Oh dear, but you're right. You're right, Hamza. I mean, it is what it is. But nobody wants to listen to this. Nobody wants me to listen, talk about these things. But it is what it is. So, I don't know. I would love to see Canelo leave them, though. I think Canelo's a really nice guy. He seems that he comes across as a really, really down-to-earth, nice guy. You know, and I don't know. I don't know. But I would not be surprised Mike Tyson's doing what he's doing there. That guys like Oscar De La Hoya might try and do it as well, and other people try and do it as well. They'll try and copy what Mike Tyson's trying to do for sure. For sure. For sure. For sure. I can see that happen as well. People trying to copy what Mike's doing. But I wish them all the best with this league. And I hope that all goes well between him and Roy. I really do. I really do. And I know a lot of people don't want to see that fight, but it gives people a second chance. And that's for me. That's what I see as a second chance. That's me, really. So we'll wait and see what happens. We'll wait and see what happens. But I think when things get a bit too rocky for the Matchroom, I think they'll pack up. When they'll squeeze as much as they can, they'll pack up and they'll disappear. They'll pack up and they'll disappear. That's what I think. That's what I think. And I've seen the cards that I want for the Matchroom, and there's not many fights I want to see in the Matchroom that I'm interested in, to be honest. No, I'm really not interested in half the fights that are on. Really not. There's no, like, why am I first of all, why am I taking my time to watch this? Is as a boxing fan, why am I taking my time to watch you? Who are you? Who have you fought? Who have you beat? What's your backstory? Yeah. Why should I be interested in watching you fight? I asked the question the other day, where's the next pay-per-view star coming from in the UK? I asked the question. And what is the model for a pay-per-view star? What's the model for the pay-per-view star? So, you know, you would have thought the way Frank builds his fighters, You know, he's got two heavyweights there that could do damage in the division. We'll have to see how. As I said, I don't believe that Dubois beats Joyce. We'll have to see if Dubois comes back from the Joyce fight. We'll have to wait and see. So, I don't know, people. I don't know. Boxing's a mess, an absolute mess. And the sooner we get the clowns out of boxing, or as Lennox says, the misfits out of boxing, and we get boxing people who care about fights and care about the state of boxing, the better. Because UFC is very quickly overtaking the interest of a lot of boxing fans. I'm telling you, I'm one who's thinking, you know what, forget boxing and go and start watching UFC. Not because of the fighting, it's just the presentation. It's just the time they take to do the presentations. The world of UFC is so different to the world of boxing. In the world of UFC, you feel welcomed. In the world of boxing, you feel that it was always a strain. Always like you got pain in your ass. I don't know. I just feel the UFC's got its own problems, right? But I just feel it's a world that, you know, the way they present the shows, the fighters, the commentary, I like it. I like it. I don't watch it often, but when I do, I never go away from a UFC fight thinking, oh, it's a bit boring. I'm always there gripped watching what's going on. So yeah, it shows you what's going on when boxing fans want to turn and start watching UFC. So whether I'm interested in seeing UFC fighters turn and fighters going to boxing, I don't know. There's a couple of guys I wouldn't mind see turn box and see if they could become world champions. But other than that, there's only a few of them. But otherwise, just boxing itself, the interest in it is going. It really is. And this whole thing with Fury and his gloves, I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. You know, stuff has happened before. Mayweather talked about it. Top-ranked fighters. It's not the first time a top-ranked fighter had been caught with gloves being the issue of gloves. So Mayweather did there's a documentary on it. And Mayweather was talking about gloves and when he went to fight Maidana and how you can get certain gloves to fit a certain way. I don't know. I really don't know what's what anymore. And because boxing is so corrupt, I just don't know what to believe anymore. Don't know what to believe. Right, I think that's it for me. I'm going to go and do some Football Manager. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll talk soon.